Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Melanie Cassar, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Colonel Frank Colley. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private John Asser. John Asser was born on the 19th of December 1906 in Newcastle, New South Wales, the son of George and Ellen Asser. Little is known of his early life, but he grew up to become a blacksmith, and after marrying Hester Smith at Holy Innocents Church on the 22nd of June 1927, the couple lived in the Newcastle suburb of Wallsend. John Asser enlisted in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force on the 7th of June 1940 at the age of 33. He began training and in November was transferred to the newly raised 2nd 30th Battalion, continuing to train with his unit in Tamworth. Perhaps because of his skill as a blacksmith, in March 1941, Asser was transferred to the recently raised 2nd 4th Pioneer Battalion, a unit which undertook both infantry and engineer tasks. Rather than join his unit, however, on the 27th of June 1941, he embarked at Sydney, bound for overseas service. He travelled to the Middle East, where he was transferred to the 2nd 13th Battalion. The 2nd 13th Battalion had been training in Palestine and then deployed to Cyrenaica in March. With the arrival of German forces in North Africa, the British were forced to withdraw from Benghazi to the strategic port of Tobruk, which fell under siege. The 2nd 13th Battalion formed part of the rear guard during the withdrawal and gained the distinction of being the first Australian Army unit to see action against the Germans in April. By the time that Asser joined the battalion, it had joined the Tobruk garrison. Asser took part in occupying the perimeter and undertaking defensive duties. After the relief of Tobruk in December, the battalion moved to Palestine before undertaking garrison duty in Syria, based around Tripoli, and then moving to Aleppo. In July 1942, the situation in North Africa became critical, and the 9th Division, of which Asser's battalion was a part, hurried west to El Alamein as the Afrika Korps and Italian forces advanced towards Egypt. The Allies pinned their hopes on their new defensive position near the railway stop of El Alamein. Here, the battlefield narrowed between the coast and the impassable Qattara Depression. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel tried to dislodge the British 8th Army from the Alamein position and open the way to Cairo and Suez. But the Allies had regrouped sufficiently to repulse the attack and make counterattacks of their own. The 9th Division launched an attack before dawn on the 10th of July and succeeded in taking the high ground around Tel El Isa, catching Rommel off guard as he concentrated his forces for an offensive in the south. The Australians spent the next few days fighting off heavy counterattacks as Rommel redirected much of his forces against them. Fighting spread to other parts of the front and continued for most of July. By the end of the month, the two sides had fought each other to a standstill. Between July and November 1942, the 9th Division suffered almost 6,000 casualties. Although the price was fearfully high, they played a crucial role in ensuring an Allied victory in North Africa. Among the dead was Private John Asser, killed in action on the 22nd of July, 1942. Today, his remains lie in the El Alamein War Cemetery under the inscription chosen by his grieving family. Eternal rest grant unto him, O Lord. May his soul rest in peace. His name is listed on the roll of honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private John Asser, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening.